Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be going over some mods that are especially useful for element leaders, squad leaders, any sort of leadership position in a Arma 3 milsim. Please excuse the voice, I have a little bit of a cold at the moment. We have all the stuff laid out here, but before I go into any of the physical items, the first one, you'll notice in the bottom of my screen I have a little compass with a bearing. And when you're grouped up with other players, unfortunately I don't have any other players on right now, but I'll show a screenshot from some live gameplay, and it has a display here of players that you can see that are in your group and if they're a medic or not, which is pretty important. It also can display auto rifleman, that kind of thing, if you have your roles set up correctly on the server. In the little GUI, it'll show you the position of all your friendlies relative to your current position. So DUI Squad Radar is particularly a good mod. It allows you to manage your squad when it comes to close range maneuvering, like in buildings or tight corners, pretty well. And if you're like in a column, for example, you can actually see that your guys behind you are following you because their markers will be on there. Alright, first mod that requires a actual item. We have a few notebooks laid out, and if I go ahead and take one and I press the 9 key on my keyboard, we get this little notepad here. You can flip through the notes here. I will say the note scrolling is a little bit poor, and I would personally keep it to this screen or this screen, just the pink here or the blue. This just lets you type a bunch of notes in, so you can put your squad call sign in here, or if you're like a JTAC, for example, 1, 2, 3, and you can put stuff here and put stuff here, or you could use it over here. You have 9 lines, so you could do a 9-line theoretically, although I don't believe there's enough space for all the text. But what I tend to use this for when I'm running a squad is you can put particular parts of the plan. So drive to Kavala, park at hospital. It won't let me type in the boxes here. So as you can tell, it is a little buggy, but it does work most of the time. I haven't actually experienced any of these bugs in a live game. I use the notebook quite often, so I'm going to go ahead and put my notebook back, and I can show you the next item here. So the next mod to show you is the C-Tab mod. So this is all the equipment that comes with C-Tab. You get a helmet camera, an Android, a micro dagger, and a rugged tablet. I've already equipped myself with a helmet camera and a rugged tablet. The micro dagger and the GD300 are essentially smaller and lighter versions of the tablet with some less functionality, so you can see how small that is in my inventory, whereas that requires like a backpack or a bigger vest. So if we go ahead and open our interface here, which you can set up in your options, controls, configure add-ons, and then C-Tab, and once you bring this interface up, this is the rugged tablet. So you have a few ways to interact. You can click on these, or if I go back to the main menu, you can click on individual sections here. So pretty much across the bottom or across the side, whichever you prefer. So first up is your Blue Force tracker here, and there are a few options. F5, as you can see, toggles your tools, and F6 toggles textures. And you can increase and decrease the font here on the side. So this shows your current position, and if you had friendlies in your group, you would also see their position. And each friendly is given a number. I think it's based off the order in which players join the server. So at the start of a mission, you can look at all the numbers of players, and if you want to, you could write that down so you know who's who when you're looking at the C-Tab device. This little arrow follows your cursor, and on the bottom right there, it gives you the grid, the distance, the altitude, and the bearing to the direction your arrow is looking. So to this gas station, It's at an altitude of 16 meters. It's at 512 meters away from us, and to get there we walk a bearing of 243. Some other functionality, you have a UAV stream. So I threw a UAV up, and you can get a low resolution stream. Honestly, this feature isn't that useful. Maybe it would be useful if you use those rover bots from Contact DLC, because those are actually way closer to the target. But for darters, they're not that useful. Next, you get helmet cam feeds. So I'm wearing one right now, and you can see it sort of shows next to my head. Again, it is low resolution, but you can use this to check if people are unconscious, for example, or you know, where that one guy that always gets lost went, that sort of thing. Next, we have text messages. So I can send myself a message. You just click who you want to send to, then you type here, and then you send, and it will say this is the icon for sent message, and since I sent it to myself, it shows the received, and then that goes to the open mail icon saying that you've already read the message. And you can delete messages and whatnot, but it's not really working because I'm the only person on the server. So that's the C tab. Yeah. For the next mod, you're going to need a laser designator. Any of the standard ones should work. And if we go ahead and pop this laser designator out, say we see some sniper on that solar tower over there, you can see we have some new UI in the bottom left. And when I activate my laser, you can see it gives me some sets of coordinates. The first one, if you cut off the last digit, it's a standard 6-digit grid. Otherwise, it's an 8-digit, and the one after that is a 10-digit grid. So you can get extremely precise with this. And if you wanted to place a map marker for all your friendlies to be able to see this position on the map, you just press your keybind with your laser activated, and you can see it places a map marker, which if I had Ace, I'd be able to go and edit this map marker and rename it. But since I'm not running Ace at the moment, it is just a marker that you can delete and place. So yeah, this is a pretty helpful mod. It allows you to quickly get all the information you need for a target you're looking at. You can, you know, look at ATC tower, you get your bearing to target, you get your range, you get your grid coordinates, and you can even place a map marker. I foresee this being especially helpful if you're a JTAC. You know, you don't have to give 10-digit grids anymore for them to see that one dude hiding in a ghillie suit. Last mod, all you need is some sort of GPS, which my rugged tablet is acting as. We go into my map, and there's nothing different yet, but when I hold control and right mouse click, you get 4 options. So first up is distance, which goes from your cursor's position to wherever you drag your mouse, and it shows this outward radius type radar display, I almost want to call it, and this can be extremely helpful. As you can see, I can add multiple points. Now unfortunately you can't convert this into like map markers or anything, but what it does allow you to do is just get a quick idea of how far something is. So if we were to be, you know, planning an LZ from Agios, say the Agios church here, I want to know how far that is from Altus. Or from the Altus airport, it's 5,200 meters. So that's a quick estimation of speed, or of the distance required to traverse, you know, across the map. Next is your compass. It's essentially just a way more precise compass. I foresee this being especially useful for mortar guys because it also shows it in mills. Not much to it, you know, it just shows you all the details you could ever need. Next up is height. So this is an interesting one. If we were walking or flying, say let's plan a flight route here. So we're at the terminal, we take off from the taxiway, and we come over the military hill, and we go to Agios. So we go ahead and do the height, and we get a rough idea here by left clicking. It creates this plot graph for us. So as you highlight on certain areas, it'll show you where on the route the altitude is, and it gives you this quick 2D perspective on what the altitude is for your route. So you can do this on a route and quickly see what your, you know, if you're flying IFR, for example, you can see what your minimum altitude is for any sort of terrain objects. So that's pretty important there. Lastly, search grid. This is pretty handy if you're in like a grid-based unit where there's no map markers or anything like that, or no like player map markers. You can go ahead and put it in a grid here, and it'll find that location pretty quick for you. So 100 to 100 is right there, and it zoomed me right in on it. So yeah, that's the map marker tools, and I think that was all the mods we had to cover. So thank you for watching. I hope it helped, and have a good one.